Hello, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Frugal Vlogmas Day 11. Gosh, the days are really shooting by. It is a gorgeous day here in the mountains. The sun is shining. It's a bit chilly, but the sky is a bit blue and it's lovely here. So I thought I would share with you today a few of the family traditions and activities that we do that are either free or cheap over our Christmas sort of time together. Because I didn't want to sound like a Scrooge, and we do things, we just do perhaps different things. So hopefully they might give you some inspiration of things to do with your children or your family, or if you're already doing different things, maybe you'd like to share them in the comments below so we can all do some fun things this Christmas and have a good time without spending lots of money. So the first thing I'm going to go through is, now these have all evolved because my children are all grown up now. I brought up 5 children, so obviously I've had them from babies right the way up now they're grown ups. So obviously things change. But here is a few ideas, first of all, of what we used to do when they were little, and then I'll share how some of it has evolved. So the first thing we used to do for December was lots of reading of Christmas stories. They always used to get in their Christmas stocking a new book, and sometimes it would be a Christmas one. When my kids were younger, there wasn't such thing as Christmas Eve boxes or December boxes. Thinking back, that would probably have been a really good idea, because sometimes they would have things for Christmas and literally a week later you sort of put them away because you think, oh well, Christmas is gone now. Whereas if you'd had them at the start, that might have been a good idea. So this was an example. This was Christmas presents one year, but then it did keep for lots of years to come. But yeah, so I've got the Snow Lady, Angel May. These are really nice Christmas stories. My daughter has just bought them for her own family as well. She's found them second hand. The Christmas Story. This was a lovely book, and it's in the shape of a stable with a star. So, and it had really nice pictures, and this was a board book. So I've had this since they were babies. I've also got winter stories, stories of snowmen. So that wasn't necessarily a Christmas story, it's just winter stories. Farmyard Tales. This one I've still got. My youngest loved this, and it's all Lift the Flap as well, and they loved those. There was loads of stories. We had story time every day, sometimes twice a day. They'd have stories in the day and then always stories at bedtime. Over the years we've had loads, but I've sort of given them to charity shops if they got older and things like that. I've still got my favourite story when I was younger myself, as I got given this when I was 10, Paddington Bear box, and it's got some books about Paddington Bear, the Paddington Bear books in there, 6 of those, and in one of those there is the story of Paddington's first Christmas and how the Browns think he's got stuck up the chimney and stuff, and it's very funny and it's adorable, and I love that. And as the children got older, obviously the stories got older, and I used to read this to them when they got a bit bigger. We used to get books from the library. So you don't have to buy books, you can get them from the library for free, just borrow them, return them. And I was always looking out, we did that a lot, we were all members of the library and we used to go there, and we'd find not just say Christmas books but winter stories as well. And then of course as the children get older, they get older books and they might read them themselves, but even when they got a little bit older they still loved me reading them a story. So that is something we used to do. We used to do Christmas baking. And the other thing I did along with the Christmas baking is all my children took a packed lunch for school, and I used to, through December, make it a Christmas or winter themed lunch. For example, and I've still kept some of these because I still do baking. I've got this quite big cutter here. It's a Christmas tree shape, and that I would use to cut out their sandwiches. So they'd have like a Christmas tree shaped sandwich. And then they would have a Christmas shaped biscuit. We'd make biscuits in there. More about that in a minute. I've got a holly shaped biscuit. And then also back in the day when they were little, I had these lovely little pots with lids, and I'd make jelly, and I'd make like a red jelly or a green jelly, and it was the ones you could buy yourself, which was a lot cheaper than buying the ready-made pots. So you used to just buy a block of jelly, and this was before a lot of them went vegetarian, vegan. This is when they were younger, but you can get vegan jelly crystals as well, and it's still cheaper than buying lots of pots because you can do a week's supply by putting it in the little containers, doing it yourself. And you can add things like grapes or strawberries or banana in there as well, so they get some extra fruit in there. And I put it in these little pots in the lunchbox along with their shaped sandwich, and then they'd have biscuits that were shaped and things like that. And you could get things like pom bears, but they were little Christmas tree shapes and things like that, and treelets. And I'd put a few of those in a little packet. So you could get a container of things like that that was sort of shaped and put those in, and that was quite fun as well. Or twiglets, that was always a thing that everyone associates with Christmas in this country, so I put a few of those in as well. And they'd have a Christmas themed lunchbox. We did some baking. We had a couple of really good recipes. One was for these Christmas pudding biscuits, which are sort of round biscuits, and you put chocolate chips in it to make it look like a Christmas pudding, and then you put white icing on the top of them, and then you can get that ready roll icing and make little shapes of holly and stick on the biscuits. And the other thing we made lots and lots of times was reindeer biscuits, and I'm still making these today. To this day, I'm going to be making those soon, and it's basically a gingerbread mix, and you make ginger biscuits and you make them into reindeer shapes. Now this might be a revelation to some of you, it might be old hat to you, but I bought this. It is slightly squashed. This, I don't know if you could see with the camera, is a gingerbread man like this, only in metal. And you need a metal one because then these are hard, you can't squeeze them, but these are metal so you can squeeze them, because if you turn it upside down and squeeze it a little bit at the top, you get like a reindeer head. The little hands of the gingerbread men are the ears, and the feet are the antlers, and of course the head is the head, like a nose of the reindeer. And then you could put a red Smartie or a red cherry in there for a big red nose, chocolate chips or currants for eyes, and you have got a reindeer biscuit. My kids loved those. We made them out of gingerbread, and it was like they were just called reindeer biscuits, and they're coming home, they're grown up, and I will still be making reindeer biscuits for them, because they love it's just gingerbread, and they think it's hilarious the fact that it is an upside down gingerbread man. Just squeeze a little bit at the top to make a reindeer. So we used to do that as well. Lots of baking. I've still got some of the shapes here. I've got stars and snowmen. So we always did baking over Christmas, and as I say, I still do. And the lunch boxes, they used to love that, and I used to try and do it as a surprise, and then they'd open up. I used to do things like that all the time, themes, Easter, harvest, birthdays, Valentine's Day, and I used to have a collection of cookie cutters and cut out different shapes for their lunch boxes, just to keep it interesting for them. So that was something we did, and as I say, I still do homemade baking, homemade cakes and things. Christmas craft. We always used to do loads and loads of Christmas craft. My kids used to love it. A bit of gluing and sticking. I love gluing and sticking. I ran a couple of toddler groups. I ran a church group, and I ran the brownies as well. Over the years, I've done all this sort of thing. So I had quite a collection of craft activities. The sun is going in and out my window a little bit. So I've got loads of different things here, like we used to make Christmas puddings with paper plates or circles of cardboard and stick things on those. Christmas stockings. I might do a separate video for you with some craft ideas, just if anyone's interested in that. Got some star shapes and stuff there. We did Christmas trees. What I got in here, I've got Santa in there and another type of stocking, and we'd always do loads of craft. And this was stuff I would just cut it out of cereal boxes and stuff like that, a lot of it, and I would just keep, if ever I saw any craft materials on sale throughout the year, like stickers or glitter pens, anything like that, and we sort of had a collection of that, and we just used to bring that out and make the craft or finger painting loads. I say I might do a separate video for you and show you some simple craft ideas with stuff you've got at home, if that would help anybody. So if anyone is interested, let me know. You can also buy craft kits, and sometimes you can pick them up after Christmas really cheap, so it's always good to keep an eye out and then just keep them in the cupboard for Christmas time the following year. Or say there's quite a few things you can do yourself. So we always did loads and loads of Christmas craft, which leads me to the other thing that always happened and still happens now, which was the Christmas colouring in. We used to love a bit of Christmas colouring in. This book I've kept at the moment because there's still some pictures not coloured in, and my kids still think it's really therapeutic. They love coming back, and I've still got a big thing of pens, and our kids sit and chill out. They've got stressful jobs and they like this one. Is now I got this one because it's got sort of harder pictures and slightly less childish pictures now that people are more grown up. And I picked these up in sales. I always used to have a look at the Works is quite good. Wilko's used to be quite good, but obviously Wilko's is now gone. But I used to pick stuff like this up in the sales and keep it for Christmas. And I don't get rid of it if, say, some of the pictures in here are coloured in or half coloured in, and I still keep it. But I used to take them out of the books then when they coloured them in, and I'd use it as Christmas decorations. So in my kitchen, I used to put the pictures on the walls or on the fridge, on my cupboards, and it was like cheap decoration. It was so Christmassy, especially with some of the craft in the kitchen. I never used to put decorations in the kitchen. I always used to decorate it with the colouring in pictures and the craft activities we did, and it used to look really lovely and Christmassy and so child friendly, if you like, and we didn't have to spend any extra money on decorations. It was all there, so did that as well. I've also got one of these Christmas word search. I saw that in the sale a couple of years ago, and I just thought, oh, that's quite something different just to sit down, especially say my kids are grown up now, but even I like a word search. And sometimes you don't want things too hard if you're just trying to relax, if you had a heck of a day, and just find it quite sort of like, oh right, if it's too taxing you just sort of tend to just put it to one side. But something like this, so that was another thing we did. Okay, where do I go from here? Board games. We always did when the kids were young, and what we still do now. Just grab these. We would always have over Christmas time and through December board game afternoons or evenings where we'd get out games and we'd play lots of different board games. I know a lot of families do that. When I was a child we didn't have many board games, but me and my father always used to play dominoes. This seems to have gone out of fashion quite a bit now, although as the children are a little bit older, are sort of grown up, they will play a game of dominoes with me. But when I was younger and a kid myself, this was the main game in our house. My mum and dad would sit down and play dominoes with me and stuff. So yeah, dominoes, that's always a good one. So board games, you can pick them up in charity shops. You can give them obviously as Christmas gifts. We sometimes used to give the children a board game for Christmas each, or between them. That's what I'm doing this year with the grandchildren. I've got, because board games have gone so expensive, so I've bought one between them. I've actually bought them a Twister. I thought that will keep them busy, tie them up in knots. So you could sort of have a family board game for Christmas. Again, keep your eyes out in sales, and we'd always have a board game afternoon, evening, where we'd have more than one, and that would be a real good activity and keep them occupied, especially if they had a long holiday. If you haven't got any board games, there is some you can do that you don't really need anything much apart from a paper and pencil and a dice. Now, I picked this up recently because I'm hoping to do this over Christmas with my family. And this was £1 for all these dice. Is there 8 in there? 10. That's not bad. That was the Works. And we're going to have a beetle drive. Now, I've got the kit of this because this is one of my favourite games. And what it is that, I don't know if you can see, each part of the beetle is a different number on the dice. And you sort of either in teams or you play individually, and you roll your dice. And when you get a certain number, you can draw a part of the beetle. Now this is a special card because it's come in the kit, but you just need a piece of paper and a pen, and you can look online which numbers coincide with which bit of the beetle, or you can just make your own up, because as long as you're all playing by the same rules, it doesn't matter. You have to make sure you've got a body though. You have to start, or that's how I've always been taught, is that you have to throw a 2 to start, which is the body, because you can't attach anything in midair. It has to go on a body. And then you play this game. It's the first one to make a complete beetle. I played that with the brownies once in their 6s, so each 6, and they absolutely loved it. They thought it was great fun. They got really excited, and I love a beetle driving. Okay, all you need is a pen, paper and a dice, and yeah, hours of fun. So I'm hoping to play that with my family at some point over Christmas this year, because that's me, and I might even get a game of dominoes out of somebody as well. So board game evenings, we always do that. We still do that. It's great. One of the traditions we've had as they've got older, which I didn't do when they were little, but now that everyone's a lot older, we do a jigsaw puzzle. Now this is a Christmas jigsaw puzzle, which I actually got in the sale, I think it was 2 years ago now, which we haven't done yet, because it's 1,000 pieces, and I've got a big sort of board of wood. My husband does building stuff, and he got me this piece of ply or offcut of wood that we can put on the table, so we can do the jigsaw puzzle, and then we can take it and put it out the way if we need to. And I just put it out, and everybody usually has a go as they're sort of walking past. My son, even with a beer in his hand, will sort of put in a few pieces of the jigsaw puzzle, and I'll sit down, one of my daughters will sit next to me, we'll do a bit, and then I'll go off and start cooking, and one of her sisters might come and sit down, and it is quite nice to do a jigsaw puzzle. And as I say, that one was £5 in the sale. My daughter has found this one, which I don't know if we're going to do this one this Christmas. She's been very optimistic. It's 3,000 pieces, but it was £1 in a charity shop. So £1. So you can look in charity shops and get them quite cheap. Sometimes an elderly aunt of my husband's buys us a jigsaw puzzle as a Christmas present, as like a family present. I've also got some really nice puzzles my daughter gave me for Mother's Day. They were from the works, and it's like oldie worldy pictures. So I've got loads of puzzles here that I haven't done yet, but we'll either do the Christmas one, or I might, as soon as my daughter's bought this one, we might have a go at this one, especially as there's lots of people in the house, as it's quite a lot of pieces. But again, as they get older, that might be something. And I didn't think they'd go for it, but they did. I put it out and everybody sits down and has a go, and yeah, it was quite good. The other thing we do now that my children are older, is nearly every year, I think last year was an exception, it is getting harder to do, because as they've grown up and gone their separate ways and they've got work commitments and stuff, we don't tend to get together all at the same time like we used to. They come and go, and then another lot will come and go, and because they've got their own families, some of them as well now, so, and work commitments. But what we've done for quite a lot of years, since they were teenagers I think, is we've done a murder mystery afternoon. This one I actually got from a charity shop for £1.50. We haven't done this one yet. And you have a dinner party, and I mean, I cook a meal anyway, and then you all dress up and you've all got a script, you're all a character, and there's a murder happens, and you have to solve it basically, and it comes with either a CD or a DVD. This one was reduced, it's a tape, but I've got a tape machine, and you have all the things in here. You've got clues, and as I say, it tells you, it's got instructions there, and you don't know who's done it because you don't look. Everyone has a little script, and it'll say to the person who the murder is in the script at one point, and do not say anything, and you have to guess who it is, and it comes with clues there and things. And as I say, this one's got a tape. And yeah, the first time I did this one, I'd actually found one in a sale, and I thought, oh, that looks interesting. Of course, I love Agatha Christie and stuff like that. So I thought, oh, we'll give it a go. And we had such a blast. We all dressed up and it was so funny. My youngest, because there's a little bit of an age gap, she was a little bit young, but we helped her out and she joined in, and it was quite funny. I mean, it was just, and we were short of a person, so she brought her panda along and put him in disguise. So she had a false moustache on her panda, and oh, it was hilarious. And it's just fun. I mean, we just had a great time. The one time we did it, one year, a few years ago now, I'd set the table for dinner, and it was supposed to be set the scene in sort of like an old house, so I had like a big candelabra on the table, and I was dressed, I think I looked a bit like Barbara Cartland, a big string of pearls and this big sort of long dress on. My daughter, because of course we improvised, you know, she was supposed to be a pilot, some woman pilot, so she had some silk pyjamas on and the scarf around her neck and a pair of swimming goggles to pretend to be there. Anyway, the postman knocked at the back door with a parcel. Oh, she skadoodled out the way, and I'm there and all this, and he went, "Oh, you having a party?" I was just like, "Oh yeah, yes we are." So yeah, so we do that. We tend to do it in the afternoon. I don't know why. I think we always sort of seem to do it sort of late, either for a late lunch or something like that, because it does take a few hours, and we have it over sort of a meal time, and then it's such fun. And that was something we've done. As I say, didn't do it last year because we didn't get enough people. You do need a group of people together at the same time. So yes, murder mysteries, we have great fun with that, and I look out for them in charity shops, because of course once you've done it once, you know who the murderer is. So any ones I've had in the past, I've passed on to charity shops, so I always keep an eye out in case I come up trumps and I've found that one. So we might be doing that one this year if we get enough people. And last but by no means least, I mean, there's loads of other things we do. These are the main ones. We do watch DVDs, Christmas DVDs and stuff over the festive period. This will always have a very special place in my heart, and I do know that some of my grown-up children still have to watch Spot and join in with the reindeer song every year, because it's just not Christmas without it. That is always be a favourite, as well as there is a Fun Song Factory Christmas we used to have. Fortunately, we had it on the tape things, that because we haven't got a tape machine anymore, it's all DVDs, but it is still on YouTube. If you've got young children, I would recommend look. It was brilliant. Very educational songs, lovely singing along songs with counting. We used to sing along, and we used to do all the actions, and I had some bells and the jingle of bells for the songs. And as I say, it was great. It's how they learned colours, how they learnt numbers and everything like that. And it was really Christmassy. It's got a bit of storyline, and they loved that. And we'd watched that quite a few times over Christmas as well. It's Christmas at the Fun Song Factory. So good old sing along. Yeah. We used to do that too. That's lovely. And then we always used to do a Christmas Eve walk, sort of late afternoon. We started it because we've always had dogs, and we had to walk the dogs, and we took the children because we thought it would wear them out and they'd sleep well Christmas Eve. So we started this tradition that late afternoon we went for a long walk, and of course it gets dark quite early in this country in December, so it wasn't long. By sort of 4 o'clock, 4:30 the latest, it's quite dark. So we'd look in the sky and see if we could see Santa. So we'd take them for a long walk, come back home with the dogs as well, where the dogs are and the children, look for Santa in the sky, which was so adorable when they were younger. And then one year one of my daughters spent a Christmas abroad, and we were all stood by the mountains looking in the sky, trying to work out which direction she would be in, and sort of waving our love to her, and see if we could see Santa. And we did that, and then we would come back and watch Scrooge. This is my favourite film apart from Spot, and it's the Albert Finney musical, and I love it. There was a couple of scenes when they were really young, but of course I know the film, where I'd make them look away or something because I didn't want any nightmares with that ghost of things yet to come. But it's got a bit of humour in it. It's got lots of singing in it, and we sing that. And yeah, so Christmas Eve, long walk back, hot drinks, and Scrooge. And we've been doing that for years, even with the older children, because I've always had dogs. We always need to take dogs for a walk, and the children would come home, always going to do our afternoon walk or evening walk. But this year is going to be different. And last year was slightly different. So instead of going for a late afternoon walk, because we were a member of a church and we used to go to church Christmas Day. So we would do our Christmas Eve walk and then we'd go to church Christmas Day. Unfortunately, from COVID and everything, that church has now closed down and we are members of a different church. And they have their Christmas service on Christmas Eve, not Christmas Day. And because of the timing of the service, and they do a blessing of the crib, and it's lovely, we sing carols and it's all candlelit and it's beautiful. We went last year, thoroughly enjoyed it, going again. So what we've started doing now is we go for an earlier walk. So we'll go just after lunch and do a long walk, come back and then get ready, go to church. And then when we came back last year, we watched Scrooge and had a late meal instead. So as I say, traditions have to evolve and change because life changes. So that is a new little routine we're getting into, and that is some of the things that we do and did do and will do for probably years to come. And it's great. I love it. I love it. The children love coming home and doing their crazy things because I thought they might want to stop doing certain things, but no, it's part of their Christmas. So yeah, so I hope that's given you some ideas. I hope you have some lovely fun family traditions. As I say, a lot of them don't cost a lot of money. You can look out in charity shops for DVDs. You can borrow DVDs from certain libraries as well, so that keeps the cost down. Look out in sales as well. They sometimes sell off lots of things, and then you've got it for years. Like this has been going strong for so many years now. I mean, dear old Spot's been going for quite a long time as well. I did have to change him from the tape to the DVD. What were they called? Oh, videotapes. Yeah, we had him to start with on videotape, and then of course all the machines sort of were defunct. Everything came out on DVD. And I couldn't get the Fun Song Factory. They didn't put that on DVD, but that was two of our favourites. But yeah, keep an eye out for cheap videos. So yeah, that's it. That's some of our family traditions at Christmas time. I hope you're having great fun through December doing family traditions with your own families. I hope that might have given you some ideas. If you have other ideas for people, please leave them in the comments below. And until next time, let's stay frugal.